In this short video, we're just going to be looking at how do we actually take changes, as we talked about, that are made by other people and pull them to our local repository. So remember that I have my repository with these two files, my first commit, my second commit, and this looks like that. Now, someone else actually changed the repository and added this function to my first commit file. And so notice how there's this function here, but in my version of the code locally, it's not there. So it's really simple to actually get that. All you do is git pull and then the actual repository, origin, master. But the key is the git pull. So I do that, and notice how it added some code to my first commit.py. So now when I go to my code, look at that. It has the new file, the new updates that were made to this file. So now my code is in sync with this code. So when you're collaborating with other people, you want to make sure to always be pulling the changes that they made, because otherwise you're not going to be in sync. So let's say though that, what you're probably thinking is, what if they edit a part of the file which we edited? So let's say on GitHub I say the awesome function actually returns 27. And then let's go ahead and change it here. So now it returns 27. And let's say on my code I'm like, actually it should now return 30. So if I go to commit this change, so I add my first commit. So now there it is, and I do git commit -n, changed my awesome function to return 30. When I try to do git push origin master, when I try to commit this change, it's going to say that it failed because there were changes that were made that I need to pull. So the reason this happens is because every time the GitHub repository on the internet is thought of as the source of truth. So when someone makes a change to that repository, which you don't have yet, so for instance, I never knew about how it got changed to 27, so my code that I wrote doesn't take that into account. So that means that I need to actually pull the code first before I can push my commit. So I'm going to do git pull origin master. And as you can see, it pulled, but it tried to merge the file together with the one which was over there. The problem was it tried to merge it and it didn't work because there was a conflict, because we both tried to modify the same line. So when I go to the file, notice how you'll see that it does this weird thing with less than signs and equal tos and greater than signs. Now what this is basically saying is that this section of the code is what you have, and this section of the code is what was there on the internet, in the internet repository. And so what you have to do is basically say what you want the code to look like, given that this is what it was online and this is what it was locally. You're basically just resolving the conflict manually instead of GitHub doing it with their algorithms and stuff. And so let's say that, okay, I think that it's great that someone changed it to 27, but we really need to actually have 30. So I'm going to say that it should look like that. Now once I've made that change, I just do git status, and I actually add that change that I made. So I've basically resolved the conflict, and now I commit it, say resolve merge conflict, and now I can push safely to the origin. So now when I look at it here, notice how it has what I said. So just to give you a quick recap, what we just did was basically pull changes from the repository on the internet, which we didn't have locally, due to someone else modifying it, who was on the team. And then there was we tried to modify this line, which was also modified on the internet repository. And so when we pulled, we actually got a merge conflict. We resolved the conflict in the code and then pushed safely back to GitHub and saw the change. So this was just a quick overview on GitHub and how to actually use it. As you will see, as we continue to basically do web development, we're going to be using tools like GitHub and like the terminal and like the command line that will allow us to facilitate the development process easier. So that's it for the terminal and GitHub introduction. Look to the next series where we actually start talking about how to use Django, and we'll actually use some of these tools that we learned here.